Sister Squad and Dramageddon 2.0. What do these two things have in common? One man, James Charles. I read all your comments asking for Sister Squad tea, and when getting into it, I fell back into the entire saga that was James Charles versus Tati Westbrook versus Jeffree Star versus Shane Dawson. We're talking bye sister, no more lies, breaking my silence, holding myself accountable, an open conversation, exposed videos followed by apology videos followed by receipt spilling videos, potentially the drama that caused Sister Squad, the popular friend group consisting of James Charles, the Dolan twins, and Emma Chamberlain, to split up for good? Or maybe the friendship was all fake and just played up for views? Or was it a behind the scenes breakup between Emma and Ethan? The two never publicly confirmed a relationship, but there have been many hints towards something being there, all of which we will be getting into in this one video. Quick trigger warning that we will be getting into the allegations against James in regards to him being a sexual predator, which is a very serious topic. Obviously way more serious than just dating rumors between two public figures or a friendship breakup. This video covers multiple topics, and I just want to make it clear that I am in no way equating the severity of that to the severity of the other speculations being discussed. You guys get it, but I just wanted to state that now to be clear. There is so much to unpack, so grab a drink and a snack. This is going to be a long one. If you somehow get confused with the timelines, I will be including in the YouTube chapters each topic with the year that we're in. With all that said, let's get into it. Sister Squad's first videos together came out in June 2018, teaching the Dolan twins and Emma Chamberlain how to do makeup on James's channel, Turning Me into an LA Girl featuring James Charles and the Dolan twins on Emma's channel, and Mukbang featuring James Charles and Emma Chamberlain on the Dolan twins channel. James was already a huge beauty YouTuber, going from 5 to 12 million subscribers in the time span of just 6 months. At this time, Emma's subscriber count doubled from 3 to 6 million, and for the Dolan twins, I couldn't figure out exactly what their subscriber count was when they started the Sister Squad collabs, but they started the year with 5 million and have over 9 million now, and they had over 6 million followers on Vine before Vine died, RIP Vine. In the mukbang video, they talked about how they all became connected. James posted some questionable, thirsty comments on Ethan's Instagram, and then they started DMing and became friends. Grayson said he found Emma when he was on YouTube and found out that Emma had been watching their videos since she was around 15, and that she likes Ethan more, which was funny. I'm not sure if this is the video that he's referencing, but there is a video of Tana Mojo and Emma talking about the Dolan twins, and Emma says that she has a crush on them and her favorite used to be Grayson, but now it's Ethan. Then Grayson found Emma's Twitter account, thought she was funny, and messaged her and became friends. James and Emma became friends because they were mutuals on Instagram and started messaging from there. So once Emma moved to LA in June 2018, the friend group more officially formed. I assume they got their name from the fact that James Charles calls his fan base sisters, so thus Sister Squad. For the next 6 months, the squad takes over YouTube. I counted 16 collabs, and they all have insane views, averaging at around 20 million per video, but the highest ones being over 30 or even 40 million views. Their most viewed video is Best Friends Buy Each Other Outfits at 41 million views right now. They were even featured on YouTube Rewind for 2018, which I guess is an accomplishment because it's YouTube Rewind, but at the time, that Rewind video was the most disliked video on YouTube. It was so poorly received that YouTube stopped doing Rewind after that year. So anyways, during these collabs throughout 2018, there would be flirty interactions between James and Grayson and Ethan and Emma. For the James and Grayson ones, it would mostly be people saying that James is being thirsty for Grayson or harassing him. James even had to come out with this tweet telling people to stop analyzing popular influencer friendships on social media, which, like, oopsie, sorry, that's what we're doing today. But he's the one putting it out there. Also, he says don't analyze it, but later admits that the whole flirting and rejection thing was just a shtick that they did that fans were enjoying. So he's allowed to make shticks for fans to enjoy, but gets mad when fans discuss their thoughts about it. Not saying that he was actually thirsting for Grayson or the Dolan twins in general or anything, but this dynamic does come up again later. And I just find it kind of funny when influencers expect people not to talk about things when they're the ones bringing it to everybody's attention as a shtick. On to Emma and Ethan. In a September video interview with Emma called Don't Sleep on Emma Chamberlain, the fans quickly noticed that there were Polaroids behind behind Emma that looked like her and Ethan embracing and smiling for photos, and even one where allegedly she is in his arms hugging, a full frontal hug. What made it even more suspicious is that once people noticed it and started talking about it, the interview was taken down and re-uploaded with the Polaroids in the background blurred out. That is pretty damning if you ask me. Like, this isn't something Emma uploaded on her own channel and could have done for silly clickbait and views. It was on a separate YouTube channel called The Tom Ward Show. I mean, unless they were trying to stir up something as well. I don't know Tom Ward, maybe he's that kind of guy. Then in October, the Dolan twins do a lie detector test video on their channel with just the two of them. Ethan has to answer the question, have you recently had a thing or have been dating someone? And originally he says no, but the lie detector says that he's lying. So then when pushed to being more honest, he changes it to I guess, and then the lie detector says he's being truthful. That same month, in a collab video on the Dolan twins channel, Grayson says, me and your beep to Ethan, and Emma has a very surprised look on her face. Everyone guessed that he said me and your girlfriend. Obviously they kept that in, knowing people would speculate further. Genius content move, but is it enough to confirm that it's real or just for show? In October, James posts a video with all of them in Halloween makeup, and people noticed near the end of the video that Emma's makeup somehow got on Ethan's shirt. Now, how did that get there? Were they possibly embracing behind the scenes and did a little makeup transfer by accident? Definitely seems suspicious. Come December, people notice a potential lovers quarrel between Ethan and Emma in a collab video on James's channel. They noticed that Emma looked unhappy and there was some coldness between her and Ethan. There's a part in the video where it looks like she reaches for his hand to hold it and he just completely ignores her. And with that, December 2018 ends up being the last time we see a Sister Squad video as a complete 4-person friend group. This is not the end of the drama and the speculations. Oh no. There's more. But then on a more serious note, the Dolan twins lose their father to cancer in January 2019, which prompts them to take a short break off the internet, which is totally understandable. But even after they return, Sister Squad doesn't, which caused people to wonder what drama could this friend group potentially be facing behind the scenes. One popular theory is that the Dolan twins and Emma wanted to distance themselves from James after James went through a huge public cancellation known as Dramageddon 2.0 or Sistergeddon. This is a wild ride that will continue to get referenced in the years to come, but we'll get to those updates and further developments when we get to those parts in the overall timeline. This could have been its own video, but you guys voted in my poll on my channel page to keep everything together, so I hope you guys like the way that I organized everything. Also, thank you if you participated in the poll, it means a lot to me. So right now, we're in April 2019. James is 19 and is the most subscribed beauty YouTuber with 16.5 million subscribers. And Tati Westbrook is one of the OG beauty gurus on YouTube in her 30s with around 5 million subscribers. Tati and James first met when James was just starting out in the industry and in LA. Because James's parents lived across the country in New York, Tati and her husband essentially became parental figures to James. James even admits this himself, saying that he got a lot of love, support, advice, opportunities, a place to stay, a shoulder to cry on from Tati and her husband. Tati essentially mentored James and she supported his projects both on her YouTube channel and in real life, but she says that James didn't exactly return the favor, and this drama all begins with Coachella 2019. After weekend 2 of Coachella on April 22nd, James posts an Instagram story promoting Sugar Bear Hair melatonin pills, which, like, side note, what the hell happened to Sugar Bear Hair? At that time, every celebrity was promoting that vitamin. That seemed so gimmicky. But anyways, so Sugar Bear Hair is a vitamin and supplements company, which is a problem because Tati also has a vitamin and supplements company called Halo Beauty. So James is basically out here promoting a competitor. Later that day, Tati posts an Instagram story where she's crying and she talks about feeling used and betrayed. She doesn't mention James by name, but everyone's able to figure out it's about him. This obviously looks horrible because it's like, okay, James just kicked aside his friend and mentor for what looks like just money. A few hours later, James posts an apology on his Instagram story. He explains that the vitamin brand helped him with security at Coachella when the crowd around him made him feel unsafe, and that he didn't receive any money for his post. He said he didn't think about the competition factor between that brand and Tati's at the time, and he's devastated now that he hurt someone who he supports, loves, and has endless respect for. While the talk around this is happening, there's also drama around a boy situation that started even before Coachella, but exploded during Coachella, and is low-key the reason that all this Tati drama ends up happening. The boy in question's name is Gage Gage Gomez. Gage was at Coachella with James and his friends during weekend 1. There were photos of them being close together, which sparked dating rumors, to which James responded on Twitter, "Nope, unfortunately, I am still single. This boy played me for months on end and is a disgusting con artist. I'm thankful I had my friends with me." Which then prompted Gage to respond in a 2-minute video on Instagram saying that he's not a clout chaser, and then a week later, he makes a 9-minute video on what really went down between me and James Charles. The story goes that back in January 2019, Gage says he got a DM from James and he responded to it as a friend. He says that James manipulated him. He also refers to himself as someone who may or may not have been trying to figure things out about his sexuality. He says all this happened even after telling James multiple times that he was straight. James then addresses it more on Twitter and Instagram with a long statement saying that they started talking 5 months ago prior to meeting, that Gage told him he wanted to meet in person and explore his sexuality. They had spent the Coachella weekend holding hands, kissing, cuddling, and had multiple conversations about how they were feeling, where Gage allegedly said that he was comfortable and having fun, but still wasn't sure about his sexuality. Gage ended up concluding that he does not have feelings for James, in which James was upset and felt like Gage used him for Coachella and for clout. And now Gage is telling his side of the story, but leaving out details that makes James look like a predator who pressured him into doing things. James asserts that everything was consensual. He regrets tweeting about it and calling Gage a con artist because it made everything public. He takes responsibility for his side of it and hopes that Gage will take responsibility for his side of it as well. And people might have been able to move past these accusations if it was a single instance, but the accusations compound. Going back to Tati, she doesn't say anything again publicly about James until a fellow beauty vlogger, Gabriel Zamora, calls out Tati in a video titled Makeup and Opinions. Basically, Gabriel says, "Girl, if you're gonna cry on Instagram, then you better tell everyone why." So Tati sees that and she's like, "Okay, bet." And 1 week after Gabriel's video, she drops a bombshell with Bye Sister on the day May 10th, 2019. She has since deleted the video, but it had over 30 million views before it was taken down. In the video, she talks about how much she and her husband, also named James, had provided and supported James Charles from the very beginning of his journey before he blew up. She went over why she feels so betrayed by the Sugar Bear hair situation and says that she's skeptical over his explanation for posting the ad. Essentially, calling BS on his whole needing security and feeling unsafe storyline, and insinuating that he really just sold out their friendship for the money, and that he's apparently a hypocrite and lying to his audience because he promoted those vitamins by a brand that behind the scenes he says he doesn't actually support and doesn't really use or like their products. But what really blows everything up to the next level of oh my god is that she calls James out for an alleged pattern of pursuing straight men, trying to trick or confuse them into thinking that they're gay, and abusing his fame and power as a celebrity. James has admitted publicly many times in the past that he likes straight men, and behind the scenes, Tati says that she and others thought his actions towards these straight men were predatory. Tati says that she did warn him about this and that it's disgusting to manipulate someone's sexuality using one's fame, power, and money, which yeah, facts. She said that James threatened to ruin these men and embarrass them if they didn't behave sexually in his favor. She brings up a specific instance of some waiter that was straight that James was interested in. When confronted, hey, you can't go after that guy because that guy's straight, apparently James would say that it doesn't matter because he's a celebrity. She also makes some digs at his parents' parenting style and basically saying that James did not know how to read the room and would make sexual jokes or sexual remarks in front of family members. This video is where we get the viral quote, "sucking and oh my god, time and place, and you did it at my birthday dinner, and I made excuses for you then." That same day, so still May 10th, James comes out with an apology video that gets received super poorly. He says he hates that he disappointed Tati and her husband. The Coachella story is true, but he isn't going to show receipts or put up a fight. He also refers to the Gage Gomez boy situation that he was going through and expresses regret over publicizing his love life. He says that he's learned the hard way about how he can interact with boys that he's interested in and also the ones that he shouldn't be talking to, and that Tati was right. He does end up deleting the video, which makes sense because his energy about this does completely switch up. The amount of deep sighs and pauses in that video felt really excessive. He ends the video addressing his mother and saying that she's the most important person in his life and that she's this amazing mom. I don't think anybody was on James' side after this video. He received a ton of backlash and hate. He dropped from 16.5 million to 13.4 million subscribers, putting him below Jeffree Star as the most subscribed beauty YouTuber. On the other hand, Tati gained subscribers, bringing her from around 5 million before Bye Sister to close to 10 million. More and more beef and accusations start piling on top of just more alleged victims coming forward with negative experiences with James, claiming harassment or manipulation. We also get Jeffree Star chiming in. If for some reason you don't know who Jeffree Star is, he's a big makeup creator, personality. He released music at some point, and he's the founder and owner of Jeffree Star Cosmetics. He's known for having a very problematic past, doing brutally honest makeup reviews, and having a lot of receipts against other beauty influencers. So we got Jeffree chiming in, tweeting back at James's younger brother, calling James a predator and a danger to society. He claims that James harassed Ethan Dolan by trying to touch him in his sleep. He says that James tried to force this guy named Zach to like James and send him photos, and says that there's a reason that Jeffree's partner at the time, Nate, had banned James from entering their home. And this is just what we're seeing Jeffree spill on social media. He's also texting James threats and harassing friends of James to call him out. So the hate for James is running rampant at this point, and on May 16th, Tati posts another video called Why I Did It, only 18 minutes long this time, explaining that she posted her Bye Sister video to reach someone that she thought was unreachable as a last-ditch effort to wake them up, but that she doesn't want people to keep hating on him, and she actually thought that she was gonna be the one receiving backlash for posting her original video. Which, like, girl, you thought people were gonna support James after you called him a predator because why? And did you really have no other options? Like, maybe call his parents? You're gonna see as all of this unfolds that I don't really trust any of the people involved here, and I think that they're all messed up in their own ways. But you guys know how it's just extra annoying when someone does something to blow shit up and then wants to backtrack like they didn't do what they just did and they're somehow innocent? That's all I'm saying. 2 days later, May 18th, James uploads No More Lies, a 42-minute long video addressing every claim that Jeffree and Tati made against him. He showed receipts for his Coachella storyline, which is that the whole reason he ended up needing to be saved from Sugar Bear Hair is because his tickets to Coachella Weekend 2 were last minute. So remember, he went to Weekend 1 Coachella with Gage that resulted in the whole negative boy situation, so he wanted to go to Weekend 2 with his friends as a redo. Since it was last minute, he was only able to get VIP level tickets to Weekend 2, not the artist level tickets that he had during Weekend 1. The VIP tickets put you in an area that is more open to the public because it's less exclusive than the artist level. So when he and his friends were in that area, he started feeling unsafe with a lot of crowding. He knew his friend Nikita Dragon had special tickets with Sugar Bear Hair the weekend prior and asked her to get in contact with them if they could help him get in too, to which they could, and they did in exchange for that Instagram post. And you know the rest. Which, like, yeah, it's still his fault that he didn't account for all of that when deciding to go with the VIP tickets, but it just proves that it wasn't a premeditated backstabbing for money. He showed texts of him telling Tati about the posts he had to make and the circumstances and how apologetic he was and how it's been a rough time for him and he's in a dark headspace. He shows receipts of him promoting Halo Beauty in his content for free multiple times in a way to disprove Tati saying that he's never shown her support back. Then he gets into the real important stuff, which is the accusations around him manipulating straight men. The supposedly straight waiter that Tati had brought up in her videos name is Sam. James says that that night in the restaurant, a conversation around dating did come up, but it was very short and never got inappropriate, and all this is referencing the sucking and comment that Tati made. He did flirt with Sam, and Sam slid into James's DMs. James asked him about his sexuality, and Sam said he was bi. There are receipts for this. So no straight men being manipulated. They did hang out, they watched a movie together and made out, and that's all. They talked for a few weeks after, but Sam's sexuality wavered a lot. He got confused about stuff, and James would try to provide advice and his thoughts. James says he now knows how all this can be misconstrued into him manipulating someone, and that he shouldn't be involved with men who are just curious. He admits to being less mature than others when it comes to relationships because he's had no experience. In the past, he's been super forward with flirting with guys, but claims that once he finds out they're straight or not interested, he would back off. But now he won't be as forward in the future. For Jeffree's claims against James trying to get the Zach guy to like him and get photos from him, James provides receipts that Jeffree is the one who told James to try pursuing Zach in the first place. James said that he and Zach talked on Snapchat for like 10 selfie exchanges and things things stopped before things could get remotely flirty at all. In response to the Grayson thing, James says that it was clever of Jeffree to bring that up since in the height of all of these allegations, both of the twins unfollowed him, not wanting to be associated with the scandal. People started speculating why, but this is when James says that him and Grayson flirting and their Sister Squad videos were all pre-planned collaborative jokes, nothing ever happened between them, and when all of this was going down, the twins were two of the first people to call him and make sure he was okay. He says the last few weeks have been the most painful time in his life that he's ever had to deal with, and his head went to a place so dark that he didn't know if he would be able to come out of it. And looking back at this drama now, James was 19 at the time, Jeffree was 34 and Tati was 37. Thinking about the kind of messages that Jeffree was sending James, a 34-year-old grown-ass man sending messages like that to a 19-year-old, and Tati is 37, hearing that this 19-year-old she claims to be a mother figure to is in a dark headspace and you're still posting bye sister. And if she really believes that James is a predator, she's only coming forward with that information now because of the vitamin competition. If he truly was this dangerous person, shouldn't you have already done something about it already? Over the next couple days, James regains over 2 million of the subscribers that he lost when Bye Sister came out, coming back to around 15 million, being the most subscribed beauty YouTuber again past Jeffree. After this goes live and the tide is turning in James's favor, Jeffree posts on Snapchat saying that he has more receipts and that James's video is full of lies and is super calculated, and that he will expose and show things that James does not want out. And it wasn't in that specific Snapchat video, but Jeffree has brought up publicly multiple times that he has an audio recording of a victim of James telling their story or having some irrefutable evidence that James harmed them, but this has never been released to the public, and honestly, in my opinion, why would he have that kind of evidence and just hold onto it for tea and blackmail? It just shows how awful of a person he is. If it is all true, that is not something you go and parade around. It's the victim's right to decide whether or not to come forward with it or go to the police. Using their story as leverage in your own game is evil behavior. Tati also tweets that James's video is littered with lies and half-truths, and she still stands by her original video. May 19th, one literal day after James's video, Jeffree also posts, but instead of exposing James with the receipts that he claimed to have, he does a total 180. He says he regrets posting the brutal tweets and the vicious text messages, which, like, wow, the switch up is crazy. To make all of those accusations against someone and come in so hot, ruin their reputation, and then back off and have no evidence is wild. That same day, Tati also tweets saying that it's the last time she's gonna talk about the drama, which we'll see how true that is later. She says that although she has many things she'd like to clear up, the continued call for receipts is nothing more than a call for never-ending bloodshed, and she's setting aside her need to be understood and will continue conversations with everybody in private, which honestly seems pretty BS because she was so down for things to be public until the public favor now swung the other way around. It makes sense why after all of this, Emma and the Dolan twins would not want to associate with James. As James mentioned in his No More Lies video, the Dolan twins did unfollow James at the time, and so did Emma. In June, just 1 month after everything hit the fan with James's reputation, the Dolan twins and Emma do collabs on each of their channels. Dolan twins become Emma Chamberlain, and High School Dropouts take finals featuring Dolan twins. These are the last videos that we ever get with Emma and the twins. The last time we see Emma and Ethan in public together is in July when they're caught leaving a Soul Cycle class together. The paparazzi brings up a comment made about Emma having crusty lips that Ethan had responded to on Twitter earlier that year, saying that Emma doesn't have crusty lips, which, like, okay, how do you know about that, sir? When asked about are you dating, Emma responds, did we say it? And then pauses and says, not yet, which fueled even more speculation that there was something going on. But we never see them together again. That September, so just a few months later, Ethan is spotted in public kissing his now wife, Kristina Alice. So where the hell did this girl Kristina come from? Well, a year later on the Dolan Twins podcast, they share that Ethan and Kristina met in 2016 because Grayson was Snapchatting some friend in Australia, and that friend had Kristina in her photo. Then Ethan saw her and was like, oh, who's that? They meet up, form a connection, but it doesn't really go anywhere serious. In September 2018, in the middle of peak Sister Squad, the Dolan Twins do a club spot Hawaiian party music video where Grayson hires Kristina to play the love interest for Ethan. Something kind of awkward is that viewers pointed out that Kristina is styled to look like Ethma in the music video. Haters will say it's just because it was an 80s themed video, but I personally will not deny the resemblance. What's kind of messy is that they say that Ethan and Kristina started talking more seriously in the beginning of 2019, which does overlap with the speculated timeline of Ethma, and you might think that this discredits things with the Ethma theories, but it actually doesn't. We'll get into that more later. So they talk in January 2019, they're spotted kissing in September 2019, and they become official in October 2019, although they kept their relationship private for those early stages. And they do get married in August 2024. So coming back to our main timeline, 2019 comes and goes, Sister Squad is dead, no more. James is trying to recover his image and is just posting as normal. Everyone in Sister Squad is just doing their own thing. There were some talks in early 2020 around Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson having a much larger role in Dramageddon 2.0 than they had previously let on. If for some reason you don't know who Shane Dawson is, he started posting on YouTube in 2008 and became one of the first YouTube stars to really get famous. His old content was mostly skits with very inappropriate and edgy jokes, some of which are just flat out racist, but now he's transitioned into doing some mini documentary style content. Shane and Jeffree are connected because Shane was making that kind of content around Jeffree's life and they became friends. Basically, during Dramageddon 2.0, Jeffree was piling onto the hate around James and was in full support of Tati, but as the dust settled and things swung into James's favor, Jeffree cut ties with Tati, unfollowed her on social media, and switched up his tune, talking on podcasts about how Tati should never have posted her video to begin with, and that she is the one responsible for ruining James's career. Essentially, people were pointing the finger at him and Shane, and he was just redirecting it all to Tati. Shane had been working with Jeffree on his Beautiful World of Jeffree Star documentary series in a conspiracy makeup collection, which ended up selling out. In the trailer for the series, Shane had teased that viewers would get to see what happened behind the scenes of Dramageddon 2.0, showing clips of himself watching Tati's video. But later, he switched up and said that he wouldn't include that drama in his series. He said that he felt like his series came to a natural end after the launch of the conspiracy palette. So then people were thinking that Jeffree and Shane exploited the drama just to make money. And speaking of conspiracies, it's also around this time that Jeffree really starts parading around the supposed voice recording that he has of one of James's victims. So while the recording has never been released to us, the public, there are other creators or influencers or whatever that have said that they've heard the audio recording and the victim is a YouTuber. Again, I think it is really gross for Jeffree to be parading it around and using it as blackmail for his own gain. Some people online have conspired that the audio recording is fake and that Jeffree and Shane created this fake audio clip to show other people and get them on their side and manipulate them. To be clear, that is all speculation. On top of this happening, creator Cameron Lester had spoken out about feeling tokenized as a black boy in the beauty space by Jeffree and his brand, and that he felt manipulated by Jeffree and Shane. Cameron said that Jeffree was confronting him about whether or not he liked James, and overheard Shane curse out James 3 months before Dramageddon 2.0 started. So just adding more fuel to the fire that there was something brewing behind the scenes. Then on June 20th, 2020, Shane posts a rant about how he's leaving the beauty community and called the whole industry a circus. He called beauty gurus attention-seeking, game-playing, egocentric, narcissistic, vengeful, two-faced, ticking time bombs, and just refuting that he and Jeffree had any involvement in starting Dramageddon 2.0 for their own gain. He ends up deleting his tweet and posting a YouTube video called Taking Accountability on June 26th, where he addresses the Dramageddon 2.0 saga and also apologizes for his racist and extremely inappropriate past content that was resurfacing and giving him a lot of heat. In his video, he apologizes to James and says that no one deserves what happened with the internet ganging up on someone. He says it was immature and gross of him to imply that James needed to be humbled, given his own very messed up past online spewing hate and offensive racist jokes for views. 4 days later, on June 30th, 2020, over a year after Tati's Bye Sister video, Tati posts another long-ass YouTube video called Breaking My Silence, where she says, "Oh, remember last year when I tried to cancel and completely end James Charles and it almost worked? Yeah, that thing." So that was all orchestrated by Shane and Jeffree. In her video, she says that Jeffree and Shane were bitterly jealous of James's success, so they gaslit her into taking him down. That Jeffree was making Tati doubt her and James's friendship, saying things like, "Oh, James wanted Nikki tutorials for this video, not you, but I have your back," whispering in her ear that James is out of control and he's this monster. Then Jeffree connected her to Shane, who came to her house and claimed horrific allegations against James. And thus the whole bi sister saga happened. She says not because of vitamins, but because of the poisonous lies that Jeffree and Shane were feeding her. She says that she has a legal team that she's working with who approved her video and alluded to future lawsuits coming, but it's currently 2025 and to my knowledge, there were no lawsuits, and she ends up deleting this video too. Honestly, I feel like this was her way to fully get back on James's good side and a way for her to remove accountability for her role and everything. I don't doubt that Jeffree and Shane orchestrated the drama because at that point in time, Shane was pretty questionable already and had been collabing it up with Jeffree. And I totally believe that Jeffree would have loved to take James down. I mean, remember who was the #1 subscribed beauty YouTuber while James was losing all of his subscribers? Jeffree. But I think that Tati probably felt super guilty when she realized all of this happened and decided to make this video to relieve herself from that guilt, but that's just my opinion. Right after Tati's video came out, Shane went on live and crashed out, which is pretty wild because it was only 4 days ago that he posted the whole taking accountability video, being all level-headed and supposedly reformed and mature now. In the live, he was cursing and saying he was losing his mind. His husband Rylan is heard in the live in the background telling him to shut it off. Like he knew that this crash out was not the vibe, and Shane tweeted this before shortly deleting it. And I don't think Jeffree responded to Tati's video at that point in time. Correction, Jeffree did respond in a video called Doing What's Right. I almost missed it because he has deleted the video and the video doesn't really give any new info. He says that again, he's not going to be showing receipts, he's been staying off social media, he's not trying to take anyone down, and he also doesn't take any accountability for starting Dramageddon. He says that he let other people gas him up and he believed things that he should have fact-checked more. So I don't know who he's saying was gassing him up, as if there's some sort of secret figure who is actually the one behind all of this, but that's what he's saying. So James and Tati are now on good terms after that video came out. Now you'd think that Dramageddon 2.0 is over since Tati and James have made up, and it kind of was, but also not. It's just taking a little break. There's just too much going on. So we're still in 2020, but now it's July, and the Dolan twins kind of addressed the end of Sister Squad in a video titled Addressing Assumptions About Us. Ethan talks about how you gotta make sure your friends are friends with you for the right reasons and they're not just doing it for clout. Grayson says that a follow doesn't dictate a friendship and comments on how the internet thinks if he follows or doesn't follow someone, then he is or isn't their friend, which he says is not true. He admits to being pressured into unfollowing a bunch of people in the past, so he decided to just clear his entire following list so that that will never happen again. Now the twins only follow their companies, each other, and their family members, and some fan accounts. Ethan answers the assumption the Dolan twins are the reason Sister Squad ended by saying that it wouldn't be fair for them to talk about it unless everyone in the squad had their opportunity to speak on their own behalf. Grayson says they're not in sync with everyone in the squad by any means. They haven't talked to any of them in a while. And he also says that he isn't confident that everyone is comfortable speaking about it. Ethan also mentions that he's in a committed relationship, and although it wasn't public yet at the time, we now know that it was referring to Kristina Alice. So the Dolan twins are completely removed from Emma and James at this point, but news around Emma and James rekindling their friendship starts to circulate, with them interacting with each other on social media again. They had refollowed each other and were commenting on each other's posts. Then in August, some paparazzi clips of Emma start going viral where she's asked about James and says he's great, I love him, and that she's received his new merch. In another clip, she's asked if Sister Squad is coming back, and she says that she and James have been talking a lot. He's really great, but in terms of what's coming next, she doesn't know. But he's really cool, and she's glad that they're reconnecting. Then the paparazzi says, we need to get the Dolan twins back. And then she responds, no promises on that one, but still keeps a pretty light tone and attitude. So it's kind of speculated that Emma was now able to become friends with James again, since it had been over a year since Bi Sister, and James was now more accepted in the public eye. We then get some collabs between Emma and James in that September. They made a video on James's channel that is still up where Emma picks James's outfits for a week. They also make a video on Emma's channel where she did James's makeup, but that video has since been taken down. Speculations as to why Emma might have taken down her video are related to some accusations against James that we will get into. Like, he is not in the clear. I don't think he's ever going to be fully in the clear after all of this, honestly. That December, James does reference Sister Squad in a video called Ranking Scandalous Moments Throughout My Career, where he he puts Sister Squad in the probably not again, but happy for the experience category. He says it was a big part of his career and was iconic, and that these were his best friends in the entire world. He's constantly being asked about it even years later, but out of respect and privacy for the other people in the group, he's not going to get into any details. He says they were all at very different points in their careers and in their lives, and they just needed to go in different directions, which was the best decision for everyone involved. He mentions how he's since then reconnected with Emma. He plugged the collabs that they did that we just talked about, and he says it was so much fun and they would definitely do it again if viewers wanted to see it. But it is 2025. And we never get another collab. From the end of 2020 and going into 2021, the Dolan twins announced that they're taking a step back from their main YouTube channel and are going to start living a more private life. This was something that they had hinted on and off for years at this point, with the classic story of burnout and also the struggle of living life so publicly. I don't think that their step back had anything to do with the specific drama around Sister Squad. Now we get into February 2021, and we have minors coming forward with their alarming encounters with James Charles. I will not be going over every single allegation that has been made, but things were piling up, especially on Twitter. Not everyone was a minor, and not every conversation was adult or inappropriate, but at best, it was just super cringy and weird kind of messages that James was sending to these people that he did not know. He was sliding into DMs left and right, something that he said he wasn't going to do back in 2019. Most notably, there was a minor that came forward to say that James had sent him unsolicited nudes on Snapchat and pressured him into sexting even after being told that the person was 16. There are tweets about this situation, but the tweets were deleted. I think they were taken down by Twitter for violating guidelines. But James responds to this story with a tweet essentially saying that he saw this person on his Instagram Explore page, saw they followed him, and added this person back on Snapchat. James said that this person sent him messages that they were so excited James added them back. They loved James and sent James lewd photos of themselves in the shower, which is kind of insane to say that you received that kind of photo by someone you now know is a minor. James says that he asked how old the person was right away, and they responded that they were 18, so he started flirting back. When James got suspicious of the person's age and asked again, he says they admitted to being 16, but still wanted to keep talking and have it be a secret. But James says that he called it off immediately and unfriended them. But the minor in this story claimed that their age was visible in their Instagram bio at the time of their interactions, and that James never asked for their age. On April 1st, James posts a now deleted video called Holding Myself Accountable, where he references Dramageddon 2.0, which was 2 years ago at this point, saying that this video isn't going to be super planned and focus on receipts like his No More Lies video. He says it's gonna be a video from his heart. He apologizes to anyone that he's hurt or has made uncomfortable from his actions. He says he understands how his actions are wrong and there's no excuse. He addresses the two people that were both under the age of 18 that came forward. So one of them was from last year and one of them was more recent. James says that for both of these cases, he added them on Snapchat and was told that they were 18 and believed them and engaged in conversation. Later, he found out they were 16 and immediately was embarrassed and blocked both people. He says the conversations should have never happened. He trusted information that was given to him, but he shouldn't have. He admits that if he had just looked into their social media profiles that were public, by the way, he would have been able to see their true ages, but he didn't do the research. And side note, I just cannot believe that that's really true, because who isn't looking at someone's social media profile of a person that they're talking to? That's like the first thing that you do. He says that he was just getting reckless and desperate for a relationship, that the idea of being in a relationship with someone became so important to him that he would just trust too quickly and miss out on red flags and not take precautionary measures that he should have taken, which honestly makes me more suspicious that he's lying about not knowing their ages. Because if you're talking to someone and being super flirty because you wanted to go somewhere serious, you definitely would be looking at their social media profile to get all the info and backstory on them. He says he now understands the power imbalance that he has as a celebrity, even though he doesn't intentionally try to use it, and that he's gonna stop using his social media platforms as dating apps. And then he takes a break from posting on YouTube for a few months. While he's off of YouTube, he continues to get more hate and more allegations pile up on Twitter. YouTube demonetizes his channel, his instant influencer series show thing on YouTube gets canceled, and Morphe gets rid of their partnership with him. He then comes back a few months later on July 2nd with a video that is still up today called An Open Conversation. A lot of people were upset or just weirded out that he was having this very serious conversation while doing his makeup, which he does address in the video, saying that he's doing his makeup because it's his therapy and it helps calm down his anxiety, which will help him not trip up with his words. James says that he's done a lot of work behind the scenes and that this was the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to him. He's aware that it's going to follow him forever. He wants to take accountability for what he did, but also shed light on what isn't true. Basically saying that a lot of people are just piling on, saying that they're victims and lying for clout so that they can go viral. Some of the exposed conversations are ones that he had with people that he ended right away once he found out their age, and some conversations are just completely edited and faked by people he's never even talked to. He says it's not okay that it's become a meme to post conversations with him. He knows now not to make himself so easily accessible, and he doesn't know who his perfect person is, but just wants to find love someday. So to be clear, James has never been legally charged with anything that people have come forward with online, even the things that he does admit to doing, which is inappropriately texting and flirting with these minors. There are people who have admitted to lying about their stories with James. Someone anonymously spoke to Cosmopolitan, saying that they had already privately apologized to James for lying to him about their age and making a TikTok to blow up the situation. And other people have been exposed for lying about these things in the past. There was a story about a creator named Ethan who said that he told James he was only 14 and that James still allegedly sent him nudes and asked him to visit him in LA, even though Ethan frequently declined. Ethan has said when he asked James to stop sending photos that James threatened him. However, a lot of people accused Ethan of lying since many of the screenshots as evidence seemed fishy. He would only show messages from James, and some claimed that he deleted his own messages to just support his storyline. There was also no proof provided of Ethan telling James that he was only 14. Later on, a friend of Ethan had come forward to expose that Ethan often lies about his age and is the clout chaser. So basically that the whole story was just for attention. And it is assumed that Emma and James don't collaborate again even after they seemingly made amends the year prior because of all of this. So, was any of the friendship even real? The classic question that will come up time and time again with all of these influencer friend groups. As discussed in our What Happened to the Gerties video, Emma goes on the Call Her Daddy podcast in January 2022 and talks about her public friendships. To give you guys a quick recap here, basically she talks about how LA friendships are super transactional, everyone's using each other, it's hard to tell if people would still be friends if there was no content making potential. She mentions how some larger influencers would sometimes push her around on and off camera because they knew that they could, and some viewers believe that this could be referring to Sister Squad. Viewers have pointed out that in some Sister Squad collabs, the Dolan twins would poke fun at Emma's appearance for not being that feminine and girly. There's also a theory that James put together Sister Squad just for content making potential because of the hype around squads around the time and the dating speculations between him and Grayson and Emma and Ethan. Remember, James literally admitted in his No More Lies video that his flirting and rejection from Grayson was played up for views. So James and Grayson, definitely not a thing, never was a real thing. Emma and Ethan though, we have more reason to believe that there was something real there. Emma has been feeding viewers with her podcast episodes that reference her first relationship. These stories are from her episode called Nicotine Addiction that came out in July 2023 and What My Meltdowns Have Shown Me that came out in November 2024. But I'm just going to summarize the tea together in one. So all of this story is happening in 2018 to 2019 when Emma is 17. Emma talks about just moving to LA and being exposed to friends around her that were vaping, smoking, and drinking. She ended up hanging out with them a lot and hitting their vape a bit. She ends up getting her own vape and it's like a snowball effect from there. She becomes fully addicted. At the time, it really helped her stay motivated and grind out work. It just never left her side. And she says that her boyfriend at the time did not approve of it at all. She says her boyfriend and his group of friends were not addicted to nicotine and they were repulsed by people who smoke or drank and were super judgmental. She tried to quit multiple times to appease her boyfriend, but it never worked. So she was literally just hiding it from him. Although he was right that she shouldn't be vaping, he was really mean to her about it. He would call her disgusting and weak and would just attack her for it and not be helpful or empathetic at all. He would say it's effing easy to quit, even though it's definitely not. Sometimes he would smell it on her and not talk to her for hours or even days. Viewers speculate that this boyfriend is Ethan and that the judgmental friends included James and Grayson, since in an interview with James, he did say that one of the reasons he clicked really well with the twins was because none of them drank, partied, or smoked. Also, just the timeline of being 17 and just moving to LA, that's literally the time she met James and the Dolan twins. Emma says that this first relationship of hers had its highs and lows. It wasn't all bad, and that even though it was only a 9-month relationship, it felt like a lifetime to her because because it was her first relationship and everything was new. When they had broken up, she literally thought she was gonna die, and it was the saddest that she's ever been, which, like, classic first love experience. Sadly, it's a canon event, very relatable. Another thing that makes people think it was Ethan is that she references how SoulCycle was very therapeutic for her at the time, and she was really big on going to SoulCycle classes, which, like, throwback to earlier in this video when we were talking about Emma and Ethan being spotted leaving SoulCycle. You might think that, doesn't that make it not make sense, because wouldn't they have been broken up by then? Well, it actually all still makes sense, because Emma says that 3 months after her and her first boyfriend broke up, she tried to get him back. They started talking again and they started hanging out again as friends, although it was not healthy. He did not want to date her. He was down to hook up, but was saying that he didn't want to be exclusive, which she wasn't okay with, because she's like, how am I supposed to be physical with you while I know that you're also being physical with other people? It was just too much for her, which is very understandable. So they would stop, but then they'd hook up on accident, and then she'd find out he was hooking up with someone else, and then be upset, and then they'd stop, and then repeat. This honestly works with the type of interview we got at the SoulCycle paparazzi encounter, where the paparazzi was asking her if they're dating, and she said, did we say it? Not yet. Because I can totally see her saying that with the mindset of her wanting them to be together in that moment, but it was during their not together but hooking up phase. Eventually, this ex tells her that he's ready to be exclusive again, and she starts jumping for joy. She is so excited. He said it to her randomly one night, just casually. He told her that he didn't want to date, but he wanted to be exclusive, which, like, whatever that means. But the next day after that, literally one day later, he stops talking to her. He wasn't responding to texts. He didn't want to hang out. She lets it go for a few days and then finally gets him on the phone and confronts him. And he tells her that he actually doesn't want to be exclusive anymore. So she was heartbroken all over again. She rips him a new one, hangs up on him, gets so mad. They don't talk for weeks, and then he hits her with the hey. She wants to respond but knows that she shouldn't. She talks to her dad about it. She's screaming, crying, rolling around on her bed, and in her anger, she throws her phone at the wall and completely shatters it. And that was the wake-up call that she needed to realize that she had reached a breaking point and has completely lost herself in this boy drama. And I think we can assume that she did not respond to the hey. Another reason this boyfriend could have been Ethan is because it still fits in with Ethan and Kristina's dating timeline. Because of his relationship with Emma being messy, him not wanting to be exclusive might have been because he was also talking to Kristina. Now, I don't know when exactly the months that Emma and Ethan were officially together, but she says 9 months. And if she met the Dolan twins around May or June of 2018, that brings their relationship into the early months of 2019. But remember, it's kind of sus because Ethan and Kristina said that they started talking more seriously in January 2019. I guess talking seriously doesn't necessarily mean in a romantic way, but I can definitely see how all of this was not clean cut and pretty fishy. Maybe that contributed to Ethan and Emma breaking up and him not wanting to be exclusive anymore while he was talking to other girls like Kristina. Anyways, it's 2025 now. James Charles has since released music and also launched his own makeup brand called Painted. The Dolan twins did move off of YouTube and started living more private lives. The last time they posted on their YouTube channel was in November 2023 to post a short film called Nothing Left to Give. And at this point, Emma is a full-blown celebrity. I mean, we covered this in the Gertie's video, but she has her own podcast. She still posts occasionally on YouTube, but she has her coffee brand, is hosting red carpet events, is attending events herself. She's everywhere. And none of the members of Sister Squad follow each other on Instagram anymore, except the Dolan twins obviously follow each other. Now, I've been saying support whoever you want in these videos, and I suppose that is still technically true. Like, you're free to have your own opinion on all of this, but I will be honest with you guys and say that supporting James Charles is not a hill that I would die on. I tried to be fair and show that there definitely were people who lied and piled on for clout, but I do believe that where there's smoke, there's fire. And just because he did take accountability for messaging minors and said it's because he didn't know that they were minors, doesn't mean that we can't also side-eye him for that even happening and not really believe him fully. Since he's never been legally charged with anything or convicted of anything, I'm not gonna say that I know definitively what happened. I'm just a girl. But I do feel like with the large number of people we can choose to look up to and support, I wouldn't didn't look to him. Jeffree Star, there's just so much drama that he's been a part of and other problematic things that have come from him. Shane, also very problematic for his past and his connection and closeness to Jeffree. Tati, I think, was just irresponsible and weird, going after someone half her age and lacked accountability, which is just annoying, but it's not a crime. In terms of the Dolan twins and Emma, I totally get why they would want to separate from associating with James after all of this. Based on all the evidence, I do believe that Ethma was real, and if I'm believing such evidence, then it doesn't seem like Ethan was very good to Emma, and from everything that Emma has shared on her podcast, it doesn't really seem like Grayson and James were that great of friends to her either. All things considered, you guys know I don't condone sending hate to anyone online. So with that, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I know it was a long one. I hope that even if you heard about this drama before, that this video provided some value. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you have any other suggestions, please like and subscribe to support the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!